Question number 14 has been giving students issues, and basically, what this question is perfect for the work that we're going to be doing in Pygame because Pygame uses rects. And what is a rect? A rect is an object that has an x and a y position, which is a point, and it has a width and a height, right? Which is the width and height of the rectangle. It also has center x, center y, left, right, top, bottom, and all of that other stuff. And the rectangles that we're dealing with here on Interactive Python also have a point object as one of its instance variables, which contains an x and a y, and it contains a width and a height. When we work with the sprite class, which is what we're going to get into when we go to Pong endings, there is a function called collide in the sprite class. And if you look in the code, it's exactly what we're going to be doing to answer question number 14 here. Okay. So how does it work? Well, we have a rectangle class, and in the rectangle class there is a point object, and in the point object there is an x and a y position. So we could think of the point as being an x and a y, and then we have a width and we have a height. Right? That's a rectangle object. And so if we make a rectangle object, here we go, this is it, right? And the point is at 10, 50. Let's say the width is at 100, height 100, right? This is a rectangle P, right? So now we're going to run collide. So we're going to say P dot collide. Maybe I can type this out here. We could say P dot collide, and we're going to pass it in the Q rectangle. And the Q rectangle has its own point, and has its own width, and it has its own height, right? So now the collide method needs to figure out if P is touching Q. Right? So how do we do that? Well, let's see. It's talking about rasterizing these layers. Oh my gosh. Hold on 1 second. Select all. Is there like a rasterize here? Give me 1 second. Okay, so so we have this rectangle, and P is running collide on Q. Let's assume that Q, it's not that. Let's assume Q is, oh my gosh. Let's assume Q is this rectangle right here. Okay, so you need to check 4 things in order to tell if they touch each other. First of all, you need to tell if Q bottom is... Another thing to clear up is that the XY coordinate system that is used here in Interactive Python is different than what's used on Pygame. Pygame, we increase on the x-axis as we move this way, and we increase on the y-axis as we move down, with 0, 0 being the top left corner. Here on Interactive Python, I believe 0, 0 is the bottom left corner, which increases on the y as you move up, and it increases on the x as you move to the right. Okay, so understanding that, this rectangle Q, we need to check if the bottom of the Q rectangle is less than the top of the P rectangle, and we need to also check if the top of the Q rectangle is greater than the bottom of the P rectangle, right? So if both of those are true, if the bottom is less than the top of the P, less than or equal to, and the top of the Q is greater than or equal to the bottom of the P, then we know that it's touching on the y-axis, right? And then we need to check on the x-axis. So we're going to be checking there and there. And so how do we check here? Well, we're going to check if the right side of the rectangle Q is greater than the left side of the rectangle P. Less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to. And the left side of rectangle Q is less than or equal to the right side of rectangle P. All right. So now you might be thinking, okay, well, I can understand that. There are 2 ranges, right? There's a range on the y and there's a range on the x to tell if they're touching, and all 4 of those conditions need to be true. And if all 4 of those conditions are true, we're touching. Well, how do I get the bottom of the rectangle? right? Well, it's pretty straightforward, right? This rectangle Q here has a point, and the y instance variable of the point object of the Q rectangle represents the top of the rectangle, right? It's this position here. And to get to the bottom, we take that y position and we add the height of the rectangle. That gets us to the bottom. So how would this look if you're saying if you're trying to put that inequality together? It'd be like if Q dot point dot y plus Q dot height is less than P dot point dot y. Right. So what am I saying? What is Q dot point dot y? It is the top of the Q rectangle. If we add the height, it's the bottom of the Q rectangle. We could think of this big expression here. We could think of this big expression here as the bottom of the Q rectangle, and we're checking if it's less than the top of the P rectangle, right? And so then we guys have to say and the top of the Q rectangle, which is Q dot point dot y, is greater than the bottom of the P rectangle, which would be point dot y plus point dot height. Right? So that's how you're going to get this Boolean expression put together. And you want to remember we need 4 Boolean expressions. One for this case, one for this case, one for this case, and one for this case. And of course we are hold on, let's see, why is it not letting me? So we're gonna, what's this, rasterize the layer? Okay, so of course when we're in this position we are checking if it is less than the top of the rectangle, and here we're checking if it is greater than the bottom. Here we're checking if it is greater than the left side, and here we're checking if it is less than the right side. Right? So hopefully that's enough information to get this all put together. If not, come and see me.